Oh, yeah. By the way, here we are, and it's another week.
Another week. We're in graduation season.
We sure are. And I think whether it's like 6th grade or high school or college graduation, it still is a extremely nostalgic time for us mums, isn't it?
It definitely is. It takes you back to all those times. Reminds you of all those photos that you took.
Raising your babies to fly, just like the little birdies that are on my deck. You know, they're in their little coconut, and Mama Bird is flying backwards and forwards solid for 2 weeks, going nuts and feeding those squawking things. And she has only 2 weeks of it, and then they leave the nest. But for us, it's a harder time.
It definitely is harder.
Letting them go, seeing them grow up. When we celebrate that, it's wonderful going to those graduation parties and
Oh, yeah.
seeing all their accolades and things they've done.
And you just wonder how the parents are doing.
Yes, you do. Underneath it all.
Yes, when the moms are, weeping in the background because their child's going off to college or, moving away to some endeavor that they've, signed up for.
And we never know when that final leaving is going to happen. Because even if they're at college, they're coming home in the summer. So it kind of preps us for that or inevitable. Yeah. But we still don't know because they could get a job locally. They could get a job somewhere else. They could get a job in another country. I mean, they could decide to go anywhere.
And they can change their mind frequently. I know personally when Sydney graduated, it was during COVID. And then she went to community college, but it was in Cedar Rapids.
So not too far.
It wasn't too far. No. And then she ended up going to Iowa City. And then it wasn't until she moved to Nebraska that after I was getting ready to leave her in Nebraska and it was 5 hours away that I actually was not upset, but just like overwhelmed. And, I'm sitting there saying my goodbyes and I was like in tears. I'm like, I'm so far away from you. I'm not 45 minutes away anymore. Like, that really bothered me. I never cried during graduation or any of those things. It was just when she was going to be farther away and I knew I couldn't get to her quickly and the event something happened. Yeah, it was tough.
And then she is your one and only and she's a girl. So I think that makes a different dynamic than I've got 2 boys.
Yep.
It's different with boys than it is with girls. And certainly you raised her pretty much solo. So in that regard, you have a very tight relationship with your daughter,
because it was a very one-on-one relationship and it was just the 2 of us for the most part. So when that person flies the coop, you are like, what's my identity look like now? Like, I'm no longer this hovering mother. I'm now like, I have to think about, wow, who am I now? Like, what's my identity look like?
Yeah. And what do you want to do? Because those 20 years of running around goes so quickly. We're running from A to B activities, trying to plan, summer camps, this, that, the other, whatever.
Oh, yeah, you're in like robot mode. You don't even know what's going on. You're just going moment to moment.
Plus, you had a job, it was that whole thing. Mm-hmm. When you've got a job and you've got all of those other things going on, it's really, it's a lot. And then suddenly that comes to a very sharp end.
Yes.
And there you are, really trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? So
you get a dog that's going to whine.
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. Little Paxi here. He's saying, Mom, I need to go out to the bathroom. And I'm going to say, Pax, you're going to have to wait.
Sweet Paxton.
Yeah, I know. But so a lot of my friends, actually, that is interesting because a lot of my friends did get dogs.
Did they?
Yes. But then the other side of that is that the dog is also a tie. And at this time in your life, you're kind of wanting to kind of also go and do some things.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that if you've got a dog at home, right?
Right.
Because
I have 3 dogs. I think that's probably why it's I need to be needed. And, pets are unconditional. They love you no matter what.
Yeah, letting them go. So letting them go, whether they're going up, it's hard to figure out as a parent, at what stage you take what things are, off and where to let the responsibilities. And when I was young, and we've already talked about this, you know, we were allowed a lot of freedom as kids to run around and do things. Then you learn to drive,
Yeah.
and then that has another level of freedom. But as a parent, you're always fearful, you know, to have taken away too many safeguards at what stage. And college is a really good time when you can take off a certain amount of protectiveness, and they.
But didn't you feel you're still very like your phone was always on and you needed to be like available at all times, night or day, just in case they needed you?
Well, it is a different world because I swear when I went to college, I went 3 hours away. I decided, because England's a small country, but 3 hours to my mum was a very long way away.
Right.
But I needed that because I wanted to be far enough away so she wouldn't just decide to get in the car and come visit me.
I get that. I moved out 11 days after my 18th birthday. And at the time, my mother and I were not seeing eye to eye. So it was kind of like I won't say a forced thing, but I'd made the decision that I was 18 and I was not going to partake in her rules anymore. And I wanted, if I was going to, you know, be a grown up, now was the time. And I just got my own place. And yeah, it was quick, but I needed space, you
Yes.
know? And I think our children also, you know, need that, especially when Sydney, you know, decided to go to community college. A lot of her friends, excuse me, were going to Iowa City, and she's like, I'm going to go to community college, like, you know, 15 minutes from there so I can go see my friends. But it was still far enough away from me that I couldn't, she knew if I was coming, you
Yeah,
know?
because you got a job.
Yeah.
So it's not like you've got all day to just go down there and have a cup of coffee.
No, not at
No.
all. But it was nice to be able to just go up for the day and hang out, have lunch, shop, and, you know, come back.
Yeah, no, I can't. I couldn't do that. And when I was, so when I went off to college, I do also think for our parents, it was a different era of raising kids. Well, your mum's a little later. I was raised in the 70s and 80s. My mum's view is probably much more centered, family view centered around her husband, my lovely dad, and my sister and I were being raised to go off and do our thing, right? She didn't necessarily try to make a friendship with us, it was very much a mother-child relationship where my mom was much more like, you should listen to what I'm telling you. I'm the mom. You need to be respectful.
I think my mom was like that when I was under the age of 18. And it wasn't until, you know, we kind of went our separate ways after I moved out for a little bit and didn't speak for a minute, that once we kind of, you know, came to terms that I was going to be my own person.
Yeah.
And that was how I think I had to show her that, like, I can make my own decisions, and I appreciate all that you've taught me, but I need to do what I want to do.
Yeah, so you established your own sense, your own
Absolutely.
identity.
Yep. And, you know, now she will tell you, if you ask her, that I'm probably a little bit more, I don't know, outspoken than she would enjoy at times. But I think I was just raised to kind of, you know, just be there and take on so much, like, stuff.
Lovely. It's lovely that she respects that, though, Missy, because being outspoken, it could be like, to my mum, if I'm outspoken, she judges that as rude and disrespectful.
I'm sure my mom has her own opinion about that, but she knows that I will, you know, also explain why, I guess.
It's not meant hurtfully.
No, not at all.
And it's not meant disrespectfully. It's just meant that this is how I think, you know, and we should all be able to express our ideas and thoughts and have somebody there who can listen and
And ultimately,
challenge them, maybe.
at the end of the day, she raised me to be my own person.
Exactly.
And so, you know, it kind of falls back on, like, you raised me. You wanted me to speak up when something wasn't right and to stand my ground. And I guess even though, you know, when she was raising me, like, she said those things, but then when it actually happens, you're like, oh, okay, she's doing all the things that I wanted her to do.
So then now we have to take that and pass that on
Yes.
to our kids and accept the fact that when they come to us with those things, we have to kind of accept those things too.
Yeah.
That's not always easy for us in the moment to kind of flip that switch and change from being mom to being a guide.
Support person. Yep.
Hmm.
No, I get that. And like I've said that before with Sydney, now she's in Oregon, and um, I'm like over the moon that she has done well for herself and has gotten to a place that, she loves it out there. But
Oh, it's beautiful.
for me, yeah, I wanted her to travel and do all these things and go do the things. But then when they actually do it, you're like, wait, stop, don't, like, come back home. And yeah, I mean, when she comes back home, she's like, this isn't home anymore. And it's like, okay, I get it, but it still, stings a little bit.
It does. So in England, we don't do like graduation parties and things like that when the kids are growing up.
Really?
So no, because you celebrate like either the 18th or the 21st birthday party, but it's nothing hinges on a graduation per se.
Why is that, you think?
I don't know, but a lot of kids in the UK seem to take an attitude towards traveling as their rite of passage. Do you know what I mean? So maybe after school or after college, they'll take a trip. And it could be like 6 months traveling, 3 months traveling, a year's traveling.
Like, who pays for that?
Well, typically they do.
Okay.
So normally a lot of them will work their ways round.
Okay.
So they'll do bar work. They'll plan stops. They'll do certain types
Where do
of
they stay? Hostel?
hostels, cheap places. You find
It's like
places
backpacking across the
like
country.
it's like backpacking.
Can I do that now?
I know.
I'd like to do that.
I know. I think about it all the time, because I'm a travel, wanting to travel all the time. But for our kids, watching them do that, I just think, oh, how it's so liberating. You
Yeah,
meet
in
so many different
America-
people, and you find yourself, and you find the things that matter to you, and you come back with a stronger set of global values.
I think that's good because in America, it's not celebrated in that way. We are, I think, from the beginning you start school, it's always, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes.
It's very work oriented, and there's never, it's always about work, never about finding yourself or enjoying, life
Where you're
at a younger age. Yeah, that's always like meant for retirement. But we all know we never know if you're going to make it to retirement,
in a
or-
healthy state,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So when you see the kids traveling, and I tried to get my eldest to travel, but he hasn't done that on his own. We've obviously traveled a lot with our kids. They've been very blessed in terms of traveling. But yes, I just see people going to far off places. Like one of my cousin's kids is just in the Philippines, and she just got her boyfriend just proposed to her on a beach in the
wow.
Philippines. So they're just backpacking. They're just doing their thing. And I'm like thinking, oh my God, I wonder where he had the ring all that time.
Right.
I'd have been nervous Nelly about it, waiting to get to the beach. I mean, they've been gone since January. So
Really?
it's not like they haven't been gone a while. And then
he's
they were
just
gone.
now like proposed. And
Yeah. So he must have had the ring in his backpack. I'm like, geez, mate, But over here, again, in England, there's a difference in the type of engagement ring as well. Like in England, people want smaller engagement rings. It's not about the size of the diamond or anything like that. Over here,
It's changed a lot lately too. I mean, especially with lab diamonds and the bigger look. And I think a lot of it was like, I don't want to say social media, but people like to show it off.
yeah. But in England, that's not a thing. Maybe it's because property's so expensive, but the move to be married here is I think whether you call it materialism, I don't know whether it is or not.
Status, maybe.
But Americans put much more status on the size of the home, the size of the ring, and then what job. There's a lot of pressure on, you've got. When I came out of college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just started.
I still don't know what I want to do. What do I want to be when I grow up, Liz?
Started. Well, you want to be a professional
podcaster.
podcaster, don't you? But I think we never had any of those pressures. Of what everyone is doing. I mean, Owen, my son, says to me all the time, "Oh, everyone's got these really high level internships," and I'm like, you are only hearing from the people who have them. You do not realize that there are
So many others
thousands of people who are finding their way. And there is nothing wrong with that. And sometimes those people end up happier, finding what they really want to do, just keeping their mind open to different options rather than trying to get channeled down this tunnel of, success.
I think it's good to change paths, even if it is abruptly. I know myself personally, I've changed paths, and people might look down upon that. But for me, I just think of it as like more knowledge in other areas and using my, I don't know.
Your transferable skills.
Yes, transferable skills to do other things and to build on that.
Yes, I think so.
But that's the difference between U.S. versus U.K.
And the 80s when we grew up versus now. And, housing's more expensive. Everything's more expensive for our kids. So they have to have a vision of, how am I gonna set myself up so I can afford a house, so that I can, retire. Healthcare's so expensive. Everything's so expensive here.
And no one ever talked to us really about retirement, when I was younger.
No.
I mean, when you started a job, I remember my first job that I had real benefits. They're like, oh, you can get 401k. And I'm like, what is that? They're like, oh, when you retire. And I'm like, I'm 21. I don't.
But our kids are really clued in.
Oh, absolutely.
They're very clued in. But
I think it's because we didn't have that knowledge, and we know from our mistakes that like you want to be able to have that rainy day fund there.
But yeah, talking about kids flying the coop, Jacob's just bought his house that's local. So I am really enjoying the fact that he's local and Paul is down there helping.
And you get to help him set it up.
Yes, that is a joy. That is a really joy. And I'm really lucky to be able to do that. And he is really blessed because he's got, a very competent father who can help with all these odd jobs around the house that would cost him a fortune if he didn't. And so that's really lovely. And his girlfriend is just beautiful, just lovely person.
It's good when you like their mates.
Yes. So I'm very lucky in that. And then, Owen is still back here and I'm very blessed with that too, because I just love time together. But I can imagine, or I can't really imagine how hard it would be to have my only child on the other side. Like my mum lost me, and she says when I went to America, she felt like half of her heart was
it's true.
taken.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
But she's still my sister.
Right. Yep. I guess for me, and I've always, I don't know, I've had opportunities to leave Iowa, but I had Sydney and her father was here at the time when I was raising her. So I wanted them to have a relationship if that was possible.
Sure.
And so I made the choice to stay. Plus my mother and my family's based here. And I was raised with that family unit, and I had that support system, especially being a single parent. I needed them. So if I were to move, I wouldn't have had any of that support. And I wasn't willing to take that chance. I wanted Sydney to feel grounded and, loved and supported. And I needed the support. So, I had to, I won't say had to, I made the choice to stay here. And now, that she's in Oregon, I think if in the event she ever has children, which I know she will, I may have to look at moving. And you know what? I may have to pack my mother up and haul her with me because she's got her feet in the ground here. But, I like to travel just like you, and Oregon's beautiful, and it may just be temporary,
Yes. Yeah. And it would be a new experience. You'd get a shot in the arm of new energy and new life doing that.
Absolutely.
Even though it's a lot of work, you kind of want to have a plan for that, because a friend of mine has just done the same thing. She's moved down to her daughter who's just had a baby in Florida, and that was her only daughter.
Right.
And she has moved down there, and it's a hard thing she's left her husband, she's moved down there, she's with her daughter, she's just seen her grandbaby.
It's a choice, she's like weighing her options, like that's your life, that your whole heart is in that area, same thing. My whole heart is in Oregon. And
how can you live through your days here with your heart there?
Exactly. And you have to switch it up. I mean, once she
there's no right way,
left the house and, it was in Nebraska and 5 hours away, I really had to think like, well, now what do I do with myself?
All of those hours that you...
who am I now? And, you can reconnect with girlfriends and you can take up new hobbies and,
There's still a void.
oh, a huge void, a huge void. But
So
yeah,
what are some of the hobbies that you're going to take up then, Missy?
well, I feel like I've done some like, house projects and stuff.
Yes.
And, I don't know. It's just also realizing that you actually have the time to do that.
Yeah.
But also enjoying the solitude of just not having to do that. So if I want to have like a girl dinner at the kitchen counter, on a Thursday night after work, and I want to sit in my underwear on the couch and watch a movie,
You
I
can
don't
do
have to
that.
report to anyone. And yeah, just being able to enjoy my own free time and not um, being needed. But then I also do need to be needed. So it's like a push-pull type thing.
It is not easy. So I'm thinking about, well, what am I going to do? Because I feel like I haven't got any vacations planned. So I was waiting for Owen to come back and see what his plans were going to be for the summer, what Jacob's plans are going to be for the summer, what Paul's plans, because he's always off on a combine somewhere in the summer. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll be going to Oregon for a bit of hiking, or maybe I'll be going to Montana is another place that I've always wanted to go to.
I've been recently watching
Big sky.
that Yellowstone series, and Montana just looks beautiful.
Yes.
And again,
Maybe
my
we'll do a
younger
road trip.
my younger self was like, I'm not worried about mountains, and but
Yes.
now I see this stuff. I'm like, I need to go there.
Yes.
I need to take
Lakes
it all in.
and mountains. Those are my things.
Yeah.
And I want to jump in every lake and I want to climb every mountain. Oh.
Why is that you think that's changed now? Like, because I know my younger version did not. I was like, I'm beach, 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 beach. And I
Yes.
love the beach. But also, like, now I'm like, I want to go to the Grand Canyon. I want to see Mount Rushmore. Like, all those things that you read about or seen, but you want to see them in person.
Well, when you were younger, those kind of things were a little boring.
Yes.
The beach was much more exciting because there's like people watching and
You get a tan.
you get a
There's
tan.
boys there.
Yes, it was much more kind of fun to be at the beach. Hiking and visiting sites was kind of like work.
I don't know about the word hiking. I will walk along a trail, but I don't know if I'm like hiking. I need the definition of that, because we went to Oregon for, Sydney's wedding, and then we went on a little walk. I won't say it. Some people will call it a hike, but
10 miles? 5
I think it was
miles?
about 5. Yep.
Yeah, so I call that a hike. 5 miles is a hike is 5 miles.
And in
or
the
more.
weather, because it was warm, I definitely was feeling like I was hiking. I could have probably
Were
had
you
someone come
dressed
pick me up.
for it?
I was dressed for it, but I didn't account for I needed more water. I should have taken more water with me, because as we, got there, you realize on the hike, at least for this one, once you go so far, you have to come all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And about halfway there, I'm like, oh.
But hiking is spending time in nature is a really
Yes, that's the part, is the
Great.
nature part.
a great release for me. It kind of makes me feel like I can breathe.
Mm-hmm. I agree. 100%.
Anxiety kind of disappears. You see different flowers in different parts of the world. You see different rocks. I mean, we're big on picking up rocks. I love looking at the earth. I love
Well, just
looking
the
at
textures and all the
Mhm.
greenery and like even in Oregon, the
smells.
plants and the smells, like some of their lavender there. We were
Oh.
talking to my son-in-law's grandmother, and my mom and I, because we're big plant people, we're like, hey, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's lavender. I'm like, oh, no, it's a different variety there. Like it looks completely different than the lavender that's grown here.
Because it probably comes back year after year after
Yep.
year very easily up there. So
Yep.
it probably grows very big, just like it does in England.
When I was there in June last year, everything was so like green. And like right now in June, they have like tulip fields, and peonies are huge there. And it's just like, I mean, mind blowing how colorful and big all of their like landscaping is. And I mean, they don't have like big
England's
yards
like that. No.
but everything's very landscaped there.
Yes, exactly. It's probably much more like it is in the UK.
Yeah.
Like when I go home to my sister's house, my brother-in-laws, they've got a garden probably, I don't know how big it is, but it's pretty small. Certainly by US standards, it would be small. But instead of having like a handkerchief of grass in England, it's organized. Do you know what? You have your flower beds all the way around the outside. You fence off your yard. You put your flower beds all the way around the outside, sometimes coming into the grass. You might have a little pond or a little fountain in
rock
there.
gardens and all that stuff.
And then you have your shed like at the back of the garden where you keep your lawn mower and your tools. And that shed will be very small by US standards. It's like a little potting
we
shed.
have garages.
Yes, exactly. But in England, everything is so pretty all the time. It's the garden is so pretty. The flowers are so beautiful because
that's how Oregon was.
Because they don't die.
Yeah,
they don't die over the winter.
They don't have that crazy
minus 30.
Frost.
They don't have the minus 30. Yeah, it's and that I miss that. I miss that a lot from England. There are other things that I don't miss, but that's certainly the beauty of the landscape. But there's amazing landscape here in America, and I think so few people from around the world come and really see the real America, the real beautiful, incredible, vast
when you
landscape.
See like a cornfield, or like on my way to drive to Nebraska when Sydney lived there, there are fields of like the huge like windmills, and it's just for miles and miles. You're like, oh my gosh, there's like windmill fields. Like I've never seen anything like it.
It's when you realize why America is like the beautiful, because it's so vast and it's so varied and so different and so incredible. To like my friend, when she came over last October and we went to Zion. Zion is probably one of my favorite national parks ever. So finding myself there and the freedom of hiking around there, and the incredible rock and she was like, it looks like we're on a movie set, Liz. It looks like we're on a movie set. It's so breathtaking. And then we did Bryce as well. I mean, those two and Arches, all in that part of America is just so spectacular.
Well, I think the climates are so different depending on where you're at. Whereas like in the UK, isn't the climate pretty much the same?
Temperate.
Yep. And here you go from, one side of the states to the other, and it's completely different.
Yes.
Scorching hot on one end, and then cool and, humid, I guess, on the other.
Yeah. So we get a lot of rain. So Scotland gets a lot of rain. And Ireland gets a lot of rain. That's why it's so green. England gets a lot of rain, but there are parts of England like Cornwall. There are parts like that are on the peninsulas going out to the water where it's drier. And
that's probably why I think you would like Oregon, because I feel like Pacific Northwest is very green, like what you describe in the UK. Yeah, I think you would like it. You might feel right at home there.
I might. Maybe that's one of the places that I should go when my nest is completely empty.
Let's plan it.
Yes. I think all in all those things, cutting the cord at this time of the year and seeing those babies fly away and knowing that this could be your last chance to really spend a lot of time, and valuing all of those different moments with them.
Yes. All the good times and all the challenging times. And the reflection, I guess, of how far you've come. And, for all those parents out there that have graduates, pat yourself on the back. It was rough, at times. And it was, again, so rewarding.
And look at that. Yeah. And look at that and celebrate it. It's just so amazing seeing these kids grow up and
the sacrifices those parents have made over the years with their free time, and then just their mental stability. As we can all relate to that. Kids can really challenge you sometimes, and we have to remind ourselves that they are their own person, and we at that age were our own person too, just trying to show our parents like, hey, I can do this. You've raised me, and now you have to let me go with the skills that you've given me, and I'm going to do just fine.
Yes.
We have to just be confident that we did a good job and we did our best with what we had to work with at the time. And I think parents don't give themselves enough credit
No.
because we're always beating ourselves up that like,
What
oh,
we
I
didn't do.
I could have done more, or I could have done this differently, but we were just learning as we went too. And for our kids that will someday get to the point where they're raising their own children, you'll look back and think, man, my mom was just doing her best,
She was awesome.
Yeah, my mom is awesome. We're both awesome moms too. We just, we have our struggles, and now we have time to fill the gaps and decide what we're going to do with our so-called new loneliness.
And if you go home and your birds have flown the nest, you may still have a man baby at home.
Oh, yes. Yes, we will. I do.
If you're lucky.
They will always need us, right?
Well,
okay.
So good chatting with you all.
Yes. By the way, we will see you again next time. And if there's any topics that you'd like us to talk about, please put it on our page. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.